You are stepping into a very different China, a land of vast, autonomous regions beyond familiar images. Between towering mountains, endless deserts, and open grasslands, there are places where nature and humanity have learned to survive together. This is not a land connected by straight roads, but by rivers, mountain passes, burning sand, and cold winds, where every journey is a true challenge. These regions feel unlike any China you have known before, like separate worlds quietly existing within a vast nation. So step beyond familiar boundaries, move past the edge of the map, and enter a world where nature still holds absolute power. Hulunbuir is one of the world's largest grasslands, covering over 35,000 square miles and retaining its original natural form. People here follow a semi-nomadic lifestyle, moving with the grass and avoiding permanent settlements or fixed boundaries. Riding horseback for dozens of miles, you will not encounter fences, borders, or even a single direction sign. The extreme climate includes long, bitter winters and very short summers, making survival physically demanding for both people and animals. When strong winds blow, the entire grassland ripples together like waves rolling from one edge of the horizon to the other. Most of this landscape lacks electricity plumbing or paved roads, remaining completely disconnected from modern urban infrastructure. Qingshuihe grassland sits at an elevation of around 5,000 feet without any large lakes or stable natural drainage systems year-round. The ground surface is often eroded by high-speed cold winds, stripping away topsoil within decades if left unmanaged. Since the 7th century, this area served as a frontier zone between Mongol nomadic groups and the northernmost edge of ancient China. Grassroot density exceeds 12,000 strands per square foot, yet remains insufficient to anchor the soil under extreme conditions. Local residents follow a closed-loop nomadic system, shifting with wind cycles, soil moisture, and herd migration routes. Walking here feels like gliding over a breathing surface where each step loses stability in ways invisible to the human eye. Located within semi-arid land in northern China, Yinuan Plain survives as a rare agricultural lowland, sustained entirely by water from the Yellow River. More than 1,400 irrigation canals built over 2,000 years ago still operate today, preserving green farmland across an otherwise dry and sandy landscape. The plain covers over 1,600 square miles, organized in precise geometric patterns shaped by natural slopes and long, controlled water flow. Its completely flat terrain creates constant risk of sudden flooding whenever the Yellow River shifts its course beyond controlled limits. Local communities rely on manual water distribution systems without electricity, allowing farming cycles to continue despite persistent environmental scarcity. If Yinuan Plain were lost, millions would be forced to leave, and a critical grain-producing region could never be naturally restored. Located on the highlands of southern Inner Mongolia, Hiteng-style grassland stretches across rugged volcanic terrain and dry, cracked, ancient ground. This area was once part of a major volcanic system, leaving behind more than 20 extinct craters mixed with small, round lakes. Many black basalt rocks rise from the surface, marking deep geological remnants from past magma activity. Today, some sinkholes still exist with depths reaching 150 feet and no barriers, creating the sense that the ground could collapse any time. Local people continue to follow a semi-nomadic lifestyle, moving seasonally to keep their livestock alive. This region is known as the last remaining example of ancient steppe life in northern China, where traditional survival rituals are still practiced. At an elevation of nearly 5,200 feet, Hemu village exists in isolation among snow-cover thin air and extreme terrain. Surrounding the village are mountain ranges rising over 10,000 feet, their snow-capped peaks forming a white barrier against the outside world. The wooden houses are built entirely by hand, connected to livestock shelters that provide warmth from animal heat during the freezing winter. You must pull your luggage on sleds or ride a horse, as deep snow blocks all access by modern transportation. Steam from underground springs creates thick fog that makes the village appear as if it floats in a vast white void. Hemu is considered the last intact remnant of Siberian nomadic culture still surviving today within the borders of China. Detian sits on the edge of the Gobi Desert, where average rainfall is just 1.5 inches per year, leaving the land with no biological recovery cycle. Since the Han dynasty, this region has served as a key corridor for both migration and military control between Western territories and central China. Over 85% of the area is desertified, making it the region with the highest rate of non-vegetated ground in mainland China. Underground sandflow networks can cause sudden ground collapse without any visible warning signs. Many land surfaces crack into spiderweb-like patterns, stretching dozens of feet, showing no animal tracks or living traces. Arriving here, you will walk across flat terrain that constantly shifts in elevation, where direction and depth slowly drain from your senses. Yulong River stretches for approximately 26 miles through Guangxi Province, renowned for its breathtaking natural beauty, where crystal-clear waters flow through towering limestone peaks. The river is surrounded by a rich ecosystem, where rare plant and animal species thrive in an untouched environment. Studies have revealed that the water in Yulong River is rich in natural minerals, promoting health benefits, particularly for digestion. The landscape of Yulong River is highlighted by high limestone mountains reflecting on the calm waters, creating a picturesque natural scene. Visitors can embark on boat tours along the river, soaking in the serene atmosphere while admiring the pristine natural beauty. Yulong River draws approximately 1 million tourists each year, thanks to its unique landscapes and diverse tourism opportunities, offering an unforgettable experience. Yellow River is one of the most unique and symbolic sections of the Yellow River, where the water cuts through a dry basin in northwest China. This section has recorded up to 880 million tons of sediment every year, making the water heavily muddy for many miles. The riverbanks are made of soft alluvial soil that rises sharply and breaks easily, forming long walls of fragile earth along the river. This is the only part of the Yellow River where water cannot flow naturally into the fields and must be pushed from lower to higher ground. The river also carves jagged valleys into the terrain, deep cuts shaped by strong flow and geological shifts over thousands of years. Here, nearly 90% of the local population survives directly or indirectly on the Yellow River, despite constant risks of erosion and flooding. Ili River, located between the limestone mountains in southern China, is distinguished by its towering karst landscape that stretches along the river. Geological research reveals that the riverbank contains over 3,000 small fissures, a result of intense erosion over various climate periods. The steep cliffs form narrow gorges where the water suddenly changes direction, creating small whirlpools in the current. The limestone surface peels away in thin layers due to temperature changes, revealing a rare vertical karst structure. Traditional villages line the riverbanks, where people continue their agricultural practices and fishing activities. Vegetation along the river has roots that extend deep into the tiny cracks in the rock, demonstrating natural adaptation to the harsh environment. Chapatu is located at the western edge of the Qingshuihe Autonomous Region, where desert meets river to form a sharply contrasting landscape. The sand dunes here rise over 200 feet, stretch to the horizon, and end suddenly next to the rushing waters of the Yellow River. Here, visitors can slide from dune tops to the river edge or cross it using a cable line over 800 feet long. The terrain has an average slope of 35 degrees, making all mechanical activity and permanent construction extremely difficult. Tengger Desert is located in the western part of Qingshuihe Autonomous Region and is one of the largest desert areas in all of China. Its sand dunes reach up to 500 feet high, forming a dense and shifting landscape that makes natural boundaries hard to define. Many saltwater lakes are isolated within the desert, some with salinity levels 6 times higher than seawater, limiting life for both animals and humans. Some local communities have survived here by collecting water from fog and digging wells more than 300 feet deep through dry sand layers. This is an extremely dry desert, and during long dry periods, the sand surface cracks into natural hexagon shapes up to 10 feet wide. Tengger is not just sand, but a place where ancient rock hills, lava flows, red sand bands, and hidden saltwater basins create an abstract and harsh landscape. Located in southern China, Yangshuo stands out for its characteristic karst terrain, where more than 80% of the land is fragmented into isolated stone towers. The vertical karst cliffs rise like giant spires, giving the impression that the earth has been pierced by natural stone structures. The steep slopes and fragile limestone make survival here difficult, forcing local communities to rely on adaptive farming methods passed down through generations. Narrow valleys between the towering cliffs funnel strong winds and circulating air, creating continuous movement in the landscape. As you walk through the rocky corridors, the rugged karst surface gives the sensation of traveling through an ancient landscape shaped by the forces of water. Radar studies have revealed deep glacial-style cavities beneath the rock, suggesting the presence of unexplored geological chambers. Located on the southern border of China, Detian Falls is known for its continuous waterfall system on limestone terrain, where the water flow can reach nearly 30 kilometers per hour during peak season. The long-lasting karst formation has shaped the terraces, and the landscape shifts a bit over 1/10 of an inch each year. Surrounding the falls, the landscape constantly transforms with the seasonal water flow, revealing distinctive erosion patterns as the water recedes. Soft curved abrasion marks and hollowed limestone layers create a mystical environment where nature constantly regenerates over time. Occasional gusts of wind carry thick mist, distorting every detail of the falls as it continuously changes in view. Recent studies show funnel-shaped depressions at the bottom of the whirlpools, reflecting ongoing strong erosion. Xingping, located along the Ili River in Guangxi, stands out with its towering limestone cliffs, where pristine nature and breathtaking landscapes come together perfectly. The harsh terrain, with cliffs rising hundreds of feet, creates a survival barrier for people in this area. The locals here, despite living in an incredibly challenging environment, have found ways to harness natural resources and develop sustainable agriculture between the mountains. Life in Xingping is extremely difficult, but its position and space, nestled between mountains and the Ili River, are irreplaceable in the natural scenery of China. Visitors can embark on a Ili River boat trip, feeling the vastness of nature and learning how locals have adapted to the environment. Despite the difficulty of living, Xingping remains an ideal destination for those wishing to explore a pristine land where nature and people coexist. Genghis Khan Mausoleum is the largest memorial complex built to honor Genghis Khan, standing in one of the driest regions of northern China. The structure features 3 main halls connected by a corridor nearly 1,000 feet long, forming a fixed ceremonial axis across an open grassland landscape. Long ground cracks, stretching hundreds of feet, surround the site, caused by dry soil movement that strongly affects natural vegetation patterns. Genghis Khan Mausoleum preserves thousands of artifacts, including spears, bows, clothing, and ritual objects that reflect the power and culture of nomadic warriors. Mongolian tradition holds that the spirit of Genghis Khan remains here forever, making the area sacred and protected from disturbance. Each year, only about 5,000 foreign visitors are permitted to enter the mausoleum, all under supervision by local guides. The Altay Mountains form one of the largest mountain systems in Central Asia, stretching over 1,000 miles across 4 different countries. In winter, temperatures above 10,000 feet often drop below -40 degrees Fahrenheit, creating survival limits for both humans and animals. Permafrost and thick ice slow down natural decay, preserving million-year-old fossilized trees beneath the mountain layers. Locals once invented a method of paddling boats across ice during winter to move between mountain slopes and thawed rivers. At sunset, sheer cliffs cast shadows that stretch for several miles across the frozen steppe, like moving walls of darkness. With winters lasting more than 6 months, this region remains one of the most mentally challenging environments anyone could enter. Sanjiang Dong village is located in the mountainous region of Guangxi, famous for its wooden stilt villages situated among limestone mountain ranges. This is a unique community of the Dong ethnic group where they maintain traditional agriculture, living in harmony with nature and the harsh environment. The wooden structures here not only serve for living, but also play a vital role in the village's transport system, such as the famous wind and rain bridge. In this area, approximately 30,000 people live, mostly relying on agriculture and cultivating rice. Sanjiang Dong village boasts vast, terraced rice fields with a sophisticated terracing irrigation system that helps water the land during the dry season. Preserving the diverse ecosystem and sustainable agriculture is the top priority here, contributing to a lasting life in a harsh environment. Yulong River Grand Canyon is one of the most vast and remote gorges on Earth, located deep within the harsh Tibetan Plateau. This is the deepest canyon on the planet, with sections reaching nearly 16,000 feet, even far deeper than the Grand Canyon in the United States. Its complex terrain, vertical cliffs, and twisting river make several areas nearly inaccessible by land. The canyon formed when the Yulong River made a 180-degree bend around Mount Namcha Bawa, an extremely rare geological phenomenon. Throughout the 20th century, several international expeditions went missing while attempting to chart the unmapped core zone. Wuan Bhutong is an ecological transition zone between forests, grasslands, and semi-desert areas in northern China with extreme seasonal contrasts. In winter, travelers can cross the snow-covered steppe using special off-road vehicles in freezing wind conditions. The terrain alternates between flatlands and rolling mounds, forming a multi-level grassland that is rarely seen elsewhere in East Asia. Migrating groups once left survival traces here, such as temporary shelters, food storage pits, and wind signal poles for sentry duties. Late afternoon winds sweep through the grasses, bending blades in waves that resemble dry ocean currents under fading sunlight. Each season transforms the entire landscape so dramatically that returning visitors may not recognize the same spot after several months. Located at over 5,600 feet above sea level, Xingping is a flat and open grassland with no fixed boundaries. The grassy surface is so level that distant human figures appear as floating dots across the vast, open space. On the high points of the steppe, dry season winds can reach over 50 miles per hour without encountering any resistance. During each festival season, hundreds of white traditional yurts are set up, forming a vibrant, outdoor, communal living space. Yurts are aligned along the sunrise and sunset axis, reflecting a nomadic philosophy of living in balance with cosmic rhythms. Winds often blow continuously for hours, sustained by low atmospheric pressure and the absence of obstacles across the plain. Qingshuihe Desert is a remarkable destination within the Kabuki Desert of China and stands as one of the few places on Earth where sand produces sound when disturbed. When people slide down the dunes, the sand releases low-frequency vibrations, usually ranging from 70 to 105 Hz, a phenomenon still under active scientific study. More than 65% of the land in this area is alkaline and unsuitable for farming, causing it to be classified as dead land by agricultural standards. Some dunes rise higher than 300 feet and reach slopes of up to 60 degrees, forming steep sand walls that are extremely difficult to cross. The dry, fine terrain causes most traditional climbing equipment to fail because traction disappears and heavy loads sink quickly into the sand. Hohhot is located on a dry plateau in northern China, surrounded by hardened grasslands and deeply cracked ground. The landscape is a shallow plain without large rivers, forests, or natural barriers, creating a wide open and unstable environment. The city has sunk nearly 2 feet in 10 years due to groundwater being pumped from more than 500 feet underground. Because of the dry climate, local communities built clay storage tanks more than 12 feet deep to survive the long, dry seasons. Traditional buildings are made from sandstone and brick, with thick plaster layers to resist the cracked soil conditions. Hohhot remains a major center of government religion and nomadic culture, where people developed systems of construction and survival adapted to extreme living conditions. As one of the largest and wildest alpine grasslands in China, Bayan Bullock features extreme terrain and remains sparsely inhabited by people. River patterns here twist like massive fingerprints across the grass, forming one of the rarest landform types on Earth. The sky dominates most of the visual space, making humans appear small and isolated within the boundless open surroundings. You can easily lose your sense of direction within minutes, with no trees or buildings to serve as fixed landmarks. Local people follow a semi-nomadic lifestyle, fully adapting to the cycles of grass, water, and extreme seasonal weather. Waterways flow in spiral formations rarely found elsewhere, breaking the usual patterns seen in inland river systems worldwide. Seiram Lake sits at an altitude of about 6,800 feet, making it the largest alpine freshwater lake in Xinjiang with harsh year-round climate. The lake spans over 170 square miles and is completely enclosed, receiving its water mainly from melting snow and glaciers. You can witness ice covering the lake, while mist rises simultaneously, caused by extreme temperature shifts between day and night. Seiram Lake was chosen in 2006 as a gravity reference point for satellite studies due to its exceptionally pure water and flat terrain. Snow-covered mountains surround the lake like a massive natural basin, creating a sense of isolation and overwhelming scale. The watercolor shifts constantly between turquoise, emerald, and deep violet, like a digital filter applied to an untouched natural setting. Located on a high mountain grassland in Xinjiang at around 6,600 feet, Nalati is hard to inhabit but irreplaceable. This grassland exists between alpine terrain and arid climate, forming a fragile ecosystem that remains surprisingly persistent over long periods. The nomadic society here adapts to grass and weather patterns instead of trying to control or modify their natural environment. Gentle, grassy slopes curve like green waves, giving the impression that the ground itself is moving slowly beneath your feet. The vast visual space overwhelms the senses, making it possible to feel completely disoriented while standing perfectly still. A low, unbroken horizon makes the sky dominate the entire visual composition, overwhelming everything else within the human field of view. Ili Valley is a climate inversion valley in Central Asia's semi-arid interior, where extreme terrain still supports sustainable ecosystems for thousands of years. This is one of the very few places in China where transhumance and semi-nomadic herding practices have survived since ancient times. When strong winds pass through the rolling grasslands and low-moving clouds create the illusion that sky and land are rotating together. You can witness snowy peaks, humid forests, fast-flowing rivers, and dry grasslands, all appearing within a single day. Climatologists regard this area as a complete reversal of desertification trends, making it a living climate anomaly in the region. Ili is the only region in China where wild tulips grow naturally on a large scale, with a gene pool different from European species. Shenyang Wind and Rain, bridge located in Sanjiang County, Guangxi Zhuang, China, stands out with its unique wooden structure and over 100 years of history. The bridge was built without using nails, with all parts connected through ancient woodcraft techniques, showcasing the skill of the Dong people. With a lifespan of over 100 years, the bridge has retained its original form and function without any modern technological intervention. The surrounding landscape consists of towering mountains, vast rice fields, and the Yingxi River flowing through, creating a peaceful and serene scene. It is an ideal destination for those who enjoy exploring traditional cultures and unique architectural works of the local people. This bridge is not just a transportation structure, but also a venue for festivals where communities come together and preserve cultural values. Tarim is the longest inland river in China, stretching about 820 miles and ending through evaporation deep within the desert. The most striking sight is the poplar trees growing upright from bare sand with no surface soil or shade in sight. Its seasonal water levels cause entire sections to vanish and reappear elsewhere, making the river's path constantly unpredictable. Some trees have stood dead for centuries without falling, their trunks hardened like living fossils, defying normal biological decay. Scientists call it a moving underground river because large sections flow invisibly beneath sand, hidden from the human eye. Walking along the riverbed, you may find long trails of damp sand replacing water, an experience rarely seen anywhere else. Longji rice terraces rise across the southern mountains of China and are recognized for extending through more than 66 continuous levels shaped across steep terrain. Geological studies reveal slopes that can exceed 50 degrees, showing how farmers adapted cultivation to exceptionally demanding landforms. As you follow the curved paths along the ridgelines, the entire terrace system feels like a natural network linking water, soil, and vegetation. Traditional water retention methods allow each field layer to keep a stable clay base that limits erosion and increases long-term structural strength. The soil profile forms three distinct layers that support organic growth, hold moisture, and reduce sliding across the mountainside. Some of the oldest terraces still preserve stone boundaries arranged entirely by hand during the 14th century, revealing the durability of ancestral techniques. Taklamakan is the largest sand desert in China, known for its harsh terrain and nearly absolute barriers to human survival. Sand dunes reaching up to 300 feet constantly shift, making it impossible to navigate or orient within the desert. One of the world's longest desert crossing highways runs through here, covering nearly 600 miles with no settlements or water. Some dunes form blade-like or spiral shapes, casting eerie shadows under angled sunlight, earning the name Sandcastles of the Devil. Along the desert's edge, people build thick-walled, low-roofed homes backed against dunes, using techniques preserved for over 1,000 years. There are no trees, no shade, no rocks, only endless waves of sand and a blinding sun across the open horizon. The Pamirs Plateau averages over 13,000 feet in elevation, with peaks above 23,000 and glaciers lasting year-round. Geological cracks here reach depths of over 600 feet, stretching for miles without any visible warning signs on the surface. Traditional architecture features semi-buried homes that block wind and retain warmth in the plateau's dry, freezing conditions. You may need over 30 minutes to walk a few hundred yards due to the thin air exhausting your body rapidly. Drinking water freezes in minutes if left outside, so locals wrap bottles inside clothing to keep them in liquid form. The landscape includes sheer rock mountains, deep, fractured plains, and glowing glaciers stretched across crimson valleys like another planet. Karakul Lake sits at an altitude of about 11,800 feet, making it one of China's highest inland natural lakes. The lake is surrounded by permafrost mountain ranges where cold air stagnates and strong winds fail to distribute heat evenly. Its surface reflects snow-covered peaks year-round, creating a mirror-like effect in a space defined by silence and freezing stillness. No long-term settlements exist around the lake due to the absence of agriculture, livestock, or stable conditions for living. This is a body of water that sustains, nothing yields, nothing allows no one to stay, yet resembles a space station on Earth. Flaming Mountains is a barren red rock range where extreme terrain and climate have challenged human survival for countless generations. The landscape burns with fiery tones as sunlight strikes, making the ground reflect an intense, almost blinding glow. Facing flaming mountains means confronting brutal heat, where people can only remain outdoors for a few brief minutes. Since ancient times, this range has appeared in historic records as a forbidden zone, a land considered unfit for human life. The mountain ridges have no clear peaks and ripple endlessly like frozen stone waves, distorting any sense of stable geography. Flaming mountains represent the outermost limit of natural heat that Earth can unleash upon a land without shade or water. Lying far below sea level, Turpan Basin is the lowest land in China and ranks among the deepest depressions on Earth. Surrounded by towering mountain ranges, the area traps hot air with little circulation, forming a massive natural heat chamber. You may feel like walking on an alien planet, where blinding white sunlight scorches cracked ground with no shade anywhere. The landscape is bare and lifeless, with dry soil, hazy light, and a sky distorted by rising heat vapor. Since ancient times, people have survived here by building underground water channels stretching for miles from melting mountain snow. Turpan proves that human life can endure in places where nature nearly denies every condition required for survival. Located in an ancient volcanic region of northern Inner Mongolia, Aachen, is where prehistoric terrain meets modern survival challenges. Today, Aachen still exists because it holds an important ecological position, acting as a natural barrier against erosion and a monitoring point for Northern Asian geology. Here, basalt lava flows stretch more than 25 miles, still showing sharp cracks from eruptions that happened over 2 million years ago. Deep and rough lava trenches divide the entire land, forming a hard black rock surface that cannot be used for farming or building. Beneath the frozen ground, people must build heating systems and houses on cold rock, since underground pipes do not work. Yinuan is located in western China, between the Loess Plateau and the Gobi Desert, where the landscape exposes ancient geological layers formed millions of years ago. The city is surrounded by jagged dry mountains and soft loess soil that easily collapses, creating unstable conditions for people to live. Over 2,000 years ago, people dug a water canal system longer than 900 miles to deal with extreme water shortages. Rice fields, irrigation channels, and flat farmlands in Yinuan sit next to reflective red sand zones, causing strong visual contrasts and low-level mirages. The fine dust in the air here measures less than 2.5 microns, reaching harsh levels similar to desert environments like the Sahara. Despite dry soil, limited water, and high dust concentration, Yinuan survives because it controls the strategic upper reaches of the Yellow River. Guilin in southern China is recognized for its massive karst system, where more than 1,000 limestone towers rise irregularly across the landscape. Geological studies reveal multiple ancient climate cycles that altered dissolution rates and produced cliff-like walls that seem nearly vertical. Narrow valleys, only a few yards wide, create natural corridors where humidity stays noticeably higher than surrounding areas. Long parallel grooves, carved by millions of years of weathering, make the terrain sharply edged and extremely difficult to access. Native vegetation survives by anchoring roots deep into rock fractures, despite the absence of real soil layers. Some limestone towers widen at the midsection but narrow at the base, creating an optical sense of instability rarely seen in tropical karst regions. Bama County is located in the karst region of Guangxi, China, famous for its high number of long-lived people, with over 100 individuals aged 100 years or more. Spanning approximately 573 square miles, Bama retains its pristine natural environment, making it an ideal destination for those seeking peace and tranquility. The underground streams in Bama are rich in natural minerals, playing a crucial role in maintaining the health of its residents and being an essential part of life. The landscape in Bama is marked by majestic limestone mountains, deep valleys, and crystal-clear streams. Visitors can explore natural healing caves where the minerals from nature contribute to body healing. The unspoiled environment and lack of industrial influence make Bama one of the world's best natural conservation areas. Beihai is located in the southern part of Guangxi, famous for its silver beach stretching over 14.9 miles with fine white sand and crystal-clear waters. This city is not only a tourist destination, but also a haven for rare plant and animal species with a unique ecosystem. Beihai features a distinctive terrain with high mountain ranges deep valleys, and steep cliffs, making it a hard-to-reach area. Deep valleys and mangrove forests are home to many unique marine species and wildlife. The area was once an important trade port, with a significant influence from various cultures, especially during the colonial period. The pristine natural scenery, with rivers cutting through large rocks, creates a breathtaking view that few places can match. Weizhou Island, located in the Beibu Gulf, is the largest island in the region, famous for its volcanic terrain and breathtaking natural landscape. The basalt cliffs, rising to approximately 164 feet, and the natural rock caves create a strange and unique sight that few places can offer. The island features smooth white sand beaches and crystal clear waters, attracting visitors to relax and explore. The marine ecosystem is rich with vibrant coral reefs and tropical fish species, offering an excellent diving experience. The Weizhou Lighthouse, built in 1905, continues to operate today, serving as a key marker for ships passing through the area. The island is an ideal place for those who enjoy peace and wilderness, remaining largely untouched by human activity and tourism. Nanning, the capital of Guangxi Province, is nestled between towering limestone mountains and vast plains, creating a breathtaking yet difficult landscape. Despite the challenging terrain with limestone mountains and large rivers, Nanning has flourished due to the resilience and adaptability of its people, with over 7 million residents. The surrounding mountains and rivers present not only the survival challenges, but also play an essential role in the city's sustainable development. The people of Nanning have effectively adapted to these harsh conditions, developing strong agricultural and industrial sectors that have boosted the economy. Nanning is emerging as a key trade hub connecting with Southeast Asia and contributing significantly to regional growth. Modern landmarks like the Nanning International Finance Center, standing at 450 feet, symbolize the city's growth and adaptability. Hechi, located in the Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region, China, stands out for its diverse ecosystem with limestone mountains rising up to about 3,280 feet and deep valleys. The rugged terrain, with steep cliffs and rivers flowing through gorges, creates a pristine natural environment. Covering an area of about 13,900 square miles, Hechi is home to many rare species of animals and plants, including those at risk of extinction. The landscape here is shaped by deep valleys and mangrove forests, offering a unique natural beauty. Visitors to Hechi can explore limestone caves stretching over about 3.7 miles and witness rare wildlife. Hechi is also an ideal destination for conservation researchers, with numerous wildlife studies and environmental protection projects underway. Detian karst, located in the Guangxi Zhuang region, is famous for its extremely rugged limestone terrain, including towering cliffs over thousands of feet high, creating a magnificent landscape. It is home to an underground river system over 6.2 miles long, providing clean water and serving as a habitat for rare wildlife. The landscape at Detian is unique, with deep valleys and limestone peaks forming a mysterious environment within pristine nature. One of the exciting experiences here is exploring large caves with bizarre limestone formations where you can uncover the secrets beneath the earth. The local people have adapted well to the harsh living conditions by building homes inside caves, taking advantage of the natural space. Detian karst is home to many rare species, including some that are only found in this limestone region. Xingping is a unique city located at the northern edge of the Tengger Desert, where three major landscapes meet: grasslands, alluvial plains, and desert. This convergence creates an ecosystem with extremely high geological and biological variation, rarely seen in other parts of China. Xingping's landscape features moving sands, tall dunes mixed with flatlands, and vineyards planted in the desert border. Once threatened by desertification, Xingping has turned into a large desert eco-tourism center, offering camel rides, sand sledding, and wide views of yellow earth. Qingshuihe, a strategic trade gateway between China and Vietnam, plays a crucial role in linking economies and fostering regional cooperation. The city spans approximately 541 square miles and is home to numerous thriving industrial zones and commercial centers. The terrain of Qingshuihe blends limestone mountain ranges and plains, creating a unique landscape full of challenges. Despite the harsh geographical conditions, the people here have adapted and flourished, particularly in agriculture and the automobile industry. The city receives an average annual rainfall of around 71 inches, providing an ideal environment for cultivating tropical fruits such as lychees, oranges, and watermelons. Qingshuihe also plays a major role in exports, with more than 10 million tons of goods passing through its border every year. Badain Jaran Desert is the highest and driest desert in China, covering around 19,000 square miles, with sand dunes rising over 1,600 feet tall. The contrast between golden sand, turquoise lakes, and clear skies makes the desert landscape appear like a scene from outer space. More than 100 lakes are scattered among the dunes, fed by underground water seeping through sand from distant mountains. The sand dunes constantly shift and change shape, with the wind producing wave-like patterns that stretch all the way to the horizon. You can climb the enormous dunes and look down at still lakes, experiencing a surreal scene few places on Earth can offer. On windy days, the sand vibrates, creating the rare phenomenon known as singing, sand producing deep resonant sounds across the desert. Tian Shan, a mountain range stretching over approximately 1,550 miles, stands out with its towering limestone peaks and pristine, majestic landscapes. Located in Central Asia, Tian Shan experiences significant climatic and ecological variations, creating diverse ecosystems from deserts to snow-capped mountains. This mountain range not only features remarkable terrain, but also plays a crucial role in regulating the climate of the region, influencing rainfall and temperature. Tian Shan is also home to many rare animal species, including snow leopards and unique plants that cannot be found elsewhere. You can engage in mountaineering trekking and enjoy the breathtaking scenery that nature has to offer. Tian Shan is a habitat for rare wildlife species and an ideal research location for biologists and conservationists. Hulun Lake is one of the few places in northern China's drylands that can retain water and slow the spread of desertification. Covering over 800 square miles, the lake once shrank by nearly 40% during long periods of extreme drought. Since ancient times, it has served as a vital stop for horseback travelers crossing the steppe in search of fresh water. When strong winds sweep across the unobstructed lake, the low clouds make the landscape feel like sky and ground have merged. The boundary between lake and grassland constantly shifts, flooded into wetlands during high water, dry and cracked during droughts. You may ride across dry grasslands and suddenly reach a vast sheet of shallow water, like stumbling into a hidden inland sea. Heavenly Lake, also known as Tianqi, is located in the Xinjiang region, China, and is one of the most famous high-altitude lakes in the area. Heavenly Lake is one of the largest high-altitude lakes in Xinjiang, covering an area of approximately 1.8 square miles, offering a sense of peace and tranquility. Surrounding the lake are snow-capped mountains and deep valleys, creating a breathtaking and challenging natural environment. The calm surface of the lake reflects the snow-covered mountain ranges, making it an ideal destination for nature lovers seeking unspoiled beauty. Heavenly Lake is home to several rare species, including endemic fish that only live in high-altitude regions. The Jiao Temple, also known as Weizhou Temple, once served as the most important religious and political center of Tibetan Buddhism across the Inner Mongolia region. The site is best known for its silver Buddha statue, weighing more than 2,000 pounds, created entirely by hand over a period of 3 years. Dazhao Temple stands on the Inner Mongolia Plateau at an average elevation of over 3,200 feet, exposed to dry air and intense solar radiation throughout the year. Despite extremely difficult living conditions, Dazhao Temple has remained irreplaceable because it sits at the cultural and strategic core of the entire Inner Mongolia region. The ground beneath the complex is mostly saline alkaline soil, which slowly erodes old foundations and requires regular reinforcement using traditional wooden supports. Each year, the area faces more than 150 days of desert dust, making long-term preservation of this ancient religious structure extraordinarily difficult. Kanas Lake, located at an elevation of approximately 4,500 feet, is one of the largest high-altitude lakes in Xinjiang, China, known for its crystal-clear water and majestic natural surroundings. The lake covers an area of approximately 9.8 square miles and is surrounded by towering mountains and virgin forests, creating a serene space ideal for nature lovers. Formed by the melting of glaciers during the Ice Age, Kanas Lake holds a unique geological history. The calm surface of the lake reflects the snow-capped mountains, offering a mystical beauty, as if stepping into a world untouched by human hands. This is an ideal habitat for many rare species, including cold water fish, unique to the high-altitude regions. Kashgar lies in the far west of China, between desert and snow-capped mountains where life persists despite extreme geographic conditions. Kashgar serves as China's western gateway, irreplaceable for its strategic position and role in intercontinental land connections. You will clearly feel the isolation while traveling across barren ground with no trees and barely any signs of life. The city stands as proof of long-term human adaptation to severe climate and unforgiving physical terrain. Local communities have developed around Islamic traditions and Uyghur culture, surviving sustainably despite persistent environmental hardships. In the middle of an extremely arid region lies Gaochang, where annual rainfall rarely exceeds even 0.8 of an inch. The entire city was built using mud bricks and rammed earth without stone or cement, yet has resisted desert winds for centuries. To reach the site, you must walk nearly 1 kilometer under harsh sunlight without shade or rest stops along the way. Its ancient walls stand over 35 feet tall and nearly 20 feet thick, withstanding both sandstorms and historical invasions. Roofless red brick corridors form a massive maze where trapped heat and eerie silence follow every footstep. Though abandoned for more than 1,000 years, its urban layout remains intact, with clearly defined residential and ceremonial zones. Idka Mosque was built in a semi-arid climate where extreme heat exists, but religious life continues unbroken for centuries. Its main gate rises nearly 40 feet tall and shines yellow like a fortress wall in dusty air and scorching sunlight. At certain times each year, more than 20,000 worshippers gather in the central courtyard for collective prayer rituals. Originally built in 1442, the mosque expanded over generations in classic Central Asian Islamic architectural style. The stone-patterned courtyard reflects sunlight and limits heat absorption, helping regulate temperature during peak desert conditions. For over 600 years, this structure has never collapsed or shut down, despite surviving wars and repeated natural disasters. Located along the desert edge of northwestern China, the Hulun Mountains rise like a natural barrier stretching over 120 miles. The range is made of granite and gneiss that are nearly 2 billion years old, with many vertical cliffs reaching tens of thousands of feet. Ancient rock layers are tilted at nearly 80 degrees, forming sharp and dangerous terrain that is extremely hard to access. This area is also classified as a top-level rockfall hazard zone, especially after spring snowmelt. Although living here is very difficult, the mountains are essential as a shield against desert spread and as a boundary for farming and ecology. Even without paved roads crossing it, the region still sees more than 80,000 adventure travelers each year for climbing rock art and archaeology. Western Xia Imperial Tombs is located on the dry plains of western Ningxia, where desert conditions meet ancient geology to form an extremely harsh landscape. Each imperial tomb rises up to 100 feet tall, built entirely from hand-compacted earth without cement or steel, and has lasted for nearly 1,000 years. The burial complex spans nearly 20 square miles, yet no one lives within a 5-mile radius due to poor soil and extremely scarce groundwater. Natural cracks in the red earth beneath the tombs create a rough surface like a dead grid, making movement and preservation especially difficult. Although erased from official records by the Mongols, this site is strictly protected as one of the last surviving traces of the ancient Tangut people. It remains the largest imperial tomb complex in Asia that has never been fully excavated, as its fragile soil makes expansion extremely risky. Hidden within the semi-arid lands of Ningxia Autonomous Region, Shuidonggu site reveals layered evidence of human survival dating back to the Paleolithic era. Steep earthen walls rising close to 100 feet form deep ravines that divide the landscape into a dry ancient maze. Positioned between desert margins and a high plateau, the terrain can reshape itself over short periods due to erosion and surface flow pressure. Shuidonggu is not only an archaeological site, but a critical record, proving that humans survived harsh northern China landscapes around 40,000 years ago. Liupan Mountains is located on the southern edge of Ningxia and has a curved shape formed between a high plateau and a dry steppe. Some slopes reach up to 40 degrees, creating sharp elevation changes and landslide risks along a stretch of over 150 miles. Liupan's position acts as a natural climate and water control gate for the entire Ningxia region. Its forests contain hundreds of ancient plant species, including some that survived from the Ice Age. Many villages still use mountain stones for building walls to protect against landslides and frost in this harsh highland environment. Qingtongxia Reservoir is located in the Ningxia Autonomous Region in northern China, standing out across a semi-desert area with a sharp contrast in landscape. Its water surface covers about 77 square miles, but it is surrounded by dry plains that receive less than 8 inches of rain per year. The reservoir was built entirely by hand over 13 years in harsh conditions without the help of modern machinery. Even though survival here depends on fragile water sources, this place remains the center of life, energy, and farming for all Western Ningxia. Tongxin Mosque is located in central Ningxia, China, in a semi-desert region with fine dust, unstable soil, and rapidly declining groundwater levels. Despite all changes over time, this structure remains a powerful symbol of how people preserve their faith in a place that seems unfit for survival. Its position near an ancient trade route makes it the main gathering and prayer center for the Hui community in the dry heartland. This land often faces dust storms with particle levels over 5 times the WHO limit, badly damaging the old wooden materials used in the building. Najiahu Mosque is one of the most important Islamic cultural landmarks in northern China, built in the late 16th century and expanded through many historical periods. The complex includes more than 40 buildings made of handmade bricks, covering over 8 acres, and has been preserved through many major changes. The area is surrounded by rough sediment hills where dry seasons can bring dust storms that cover the entire site. The land around it often has salty dust that makes it hard for plants to grow, and people have to adjust to very harsh living conditions. Locals also believe that the less dust around the mosque can prevent skin disease, although there is no scientific explanation for this belief. Karst Peak Forest is a vertical stone tower forest in China, formed from limestone that dates back over 300 million years. Acidic rain dissolved the ancient stone layers, creating thousands of isolated rock towers that rise as high as 980 feet. With more than 1,000 towers per 10 square miles, the terrain forms a natural maze invisible to the human eye. Narrow gaps between the rocks only fit one person at a time, causing constant disorientation while navigating the area. Ancient Zhuang people built villages inside sunken valleys between the stone living, encircled by the terrain itself. The upright limestone walls served as natural defense lines, turning the stone forest into a living fortress during ancient conflicts. Longtan Scenic Area is a natural landscape where karst mountains, lakes, and green forest come together like a vivid visual symphony. Its karst formations were shaped over millions of years as water-dissolved limestone, forming a complex system of valleys and underground lakes. Amid thick forest, 24 limestone peaks rise up, each shaped like a unique natural sculpture carved by time. Local people once carved stone steps and built hanging bridges to cross between peaks, surviving in slopes nearly impossible to climb. Seen from above, the whole area looks like a giant bonsai, where every natural element gathers and balances perfectly. The fusion of ancient geology and local culture makes this place a symbol that visitors cannot forget once experienced. Burkina sits at the junction of three major geological belts, holding underground rock layers that date back 200 to 400 million years. It is the only place in China where traces of the Pleistocene Ice Age and modern desertification appear on the same geologic profile. Over 75% of the area is barren highland or semi-desert with almost no consistent seasonal vegetation cover. This was once a key trade hub, linking Han, Kazakh, and Uyghur groups across the northern corridor of Xinjiang. Residents live scattered, rather than in clusters, maximizing access to sunken terrain and temporary water sources across unstable ground. Burkina therefore stands not just as a difficult place to inhabit, but as a necessary space shaped by extreme geology and long human movement across land. Egina Populus Forest is one of only 3 original Populus Euphratica forests left on Earth, located in an extremely arid desert zone. Locals constantly face blinding sandstorms and cracked lips and eyes, forcing them to fully cover up and carry water in short intervals. The forest stretches nearly 124 miles, but is only about 9 miles wide at its broadest, a fragile green belt in endless sand. Each Euphratica tree can live for 3,000 years, stand for another 1,000, and remain undecayed for yet another millennium. This region endures constant sandstorms, alkaline soil, and extremely low humidity, forcing trees to evolve biologically just to survive. Though nearly unlivable, this forest remains an irreplaceable ecological shield in a land of thirst and unrelenting desolation. Shahu Lake is a shallow inland lake located beside the desert, with an average depth of just 7 feet and covering nearly 2,000 acres. It formed from groundwater, rising through sunken dunes, an almost impossible event in such prolonged inland arid conditions. The rear dunes continue shifting each year, but the lake remains untouched, creating a paradox of stability inside moving desert terrain. Crossing the sand-water edge, one feels cold, feet hot, skin, and dazzled eyes. Three opposing sensations happening at once. Beneath the water lies a dense, muddy layer. One wrong step, and a person may sink down to the knees. A 2022 geological survey by the Chinese Desert Lake Systems confirmed Qingshuihe as one of the rarest stable sandwater formations near China's desert margins. Liupan Mountain National Forest Park lies within the Liupan Range, cutting across the lowest plateau as a terrain barrier in the northwestern edge. The park spans nearly 262 square miles with over 80% covered by forest, a living lung on this dry highland. Positioned on the plateau, the forest faces thick fog, sudden rain, and extreme shifts in weather that force rapid ecological adaptation. For centuries, this area was a cultural meeting point between central Chinese agriculture and northern nomadic life, a survival crossroads. Deep valleys within the forest carry cold streams along rock walls, echoing wild sounds like the forest guarding its own silence. Liupan was once part of the ancient northern Silk Road route, serving as a vital connection between frontier lands and trade centers.
Ordus se estende por mais de 230 mil quilômetros quadrados, sendo um dos maiores e mais isolados desertos interiores da China. A precipitação anual é extremamente baixa, abaixo de 250 milímetros, enquanto a evaporação é cerca de 4 vezes maior, mantendo o solo sempre seco e árido. No passado, pessoas tentaram se estabelecer aqui, mas foram forçadas a recuar, porque o deserto prevaleceu, impedindo a permanência de qualquer civilização. Ao ficar no meio da areia, é possível ver a própria sombra refletida de todas as direções, criando a sensação de estar cercado por si mesmo. A paisagem muda continuamente com dunas, depressões profundas e sulcos moldados pelo vento, alterando suas formas em poucas horas de ventania forte. Toda a superfície é composta por areia em movimento constante, sem árvores ou grandes rochas de apoio e sem qualquer ponto central fixo.